Thank you, Chairman Perry and Ranking Member Stanton, for holding this hearing, and thank you to Administrator Fugate for your unapologetic candor about what needs to be done to improve FEMA. I want to shift gears a bit and talk about FEMA's non-disaster grant programs. Part of FEMA's mission is to prevent and respond to imminent, threatened, or actual acts of terrorism. To carry out that mission, FEMA administers critical public safety and preparedness grant programs, including the Homeland Security Grant Program, or HSGP. On June 24, 2026, FEMA and DHS published the fiscal year 2026 Notice of Funding Opportunity that holds back 20% of funds if states do not submit to President Trump's voter election interference tactics. DHS and FEMA are now politicizing $200 million of federal funds to fight terrorism by forcing states to implement partisan election policies that in some case violate court orders, the Constitution, and existing state laws. And when we passed the FEMA Act of 2025 into law, it did include not politicizing FEMA and how funds are distributed. So Administrator Fugate, you served as FEMA Administrator for almost a decade. Can you please explain what counterterrorism or preparedness objectives are served by conditioning these grants on compliance with potentially unlawful election requirements?
It's furthering the administration's policies. It's as simple as that. FEMA is just a tool here. I mean, if you ask FEMA, they wouldn't do it. They're being directed to do it. And right now, until the courts rule, they're giving the president a lot of executive authority. So the only way you're going to contain that is putting specific language in the law that says you can't do that. And then the judges can look at that and go, yeah, that's not executive authority. Congress has clearly said no. But the Supreme Court and many justices have ruled the president has executive authority. FEMA is not doing this because they think it's a good idea. They're being directed to do it. And this is the administration asserting their authority as they have it for policy. And until the courts determine which is right, it's going to happen. I think that, again, I find that a lot of times FEMA gets thrust in there. Like, FEMA is just a tool being used to advance an administrative policy.
Yeah.
Don't yell at FEMA. It's just, we're convenient, but don't yell at FEMA. This is what they're doing. And so far, there's not been tremendous pushback from the courts, especially the Supreme Court, that they don't have that executive authority.
Yeah, following up, during your time as FEMA Administrator, did you consider how a state runs its elections as criterion for awarding these funds?
Not for those funds, for recovery funds. I dealt with it, I seem to be the person that always had disasters in the middle of presidential elections, which we found out you cannot postpone. So we actually supported the state of New Jersey in funding temporary polling sites, bringing in generators, tents, and other things to conduct the election. That's an appropriate use of FEMA. We supported, we didn't have anything to do with staffing it. We supported the state to carry out the election. That was eligible under protective measures. We did that in Florida during the election in 2004, where we built polling stations because in Charlotte County, there was nothing left to do polling in, so we had to build that. That's an appropriate role for FEMA.
Yeah, so basically your job was to respond to a disaster to allow elections to be carried out as they're supposed to be by law.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. And I just want to, end this by saying this is not just about FEMA and DHS exploiting a counterterrorism grant for a purpose unrelated to stopping terrorism. This is about an administration weaponizing FEMA for voter suppression. And as I often say, the United States does not have a voter fraud problem. We have a voter participation problem. In 2024, 90 million people did not participate in our elections. They chose not to vote. This is a bad solution. It does nothing to help promote democracy. It's unconstitutional, and the safety of the American people are not enhanced because of these actions. I yield back, Mr. Chair. Thank you.